Hi, I'm Brittney Saunders and welcome to Big Business, the place where business is far from boring. And today I'm recording on Gadigal land. Now, I somehow managed to build an empire from the garage underneath my house, and I'm here on Big Business to share it all with you, from the wins, the huge mistakes, the challenging times, and the funny moments in between. So whether you're in business already yourself, maybe you're not in the game at all, perhaps you're looking for some inspo, or you simply just want to hear the tea, this is the podcast for you. Coming up on today's episode, I am joined by another special guest, and I know every time I say I'm really excited, but I am really excited for this one because I am a customer of this brand. Today I am joined by Raquel Bouris, who is the founder of Who is Elijah Perfume. Who is Elijah? If you haven't heard of them, you've been living under a rock. They are absolutely blowing up on social media and in the Australian retail space. So without further ado, let's get down to business. We've been wanting to get you on the pod for ages, and being a Who is Elijah customer myself, I felt this is a great opportunity for both of us.
Oh, stop it. I'm fangirling.
When we reached out to you, I always ask a few questions before we have a guest come on the pod. And one of the answers that you came back with really stood out to me, and it was that you've lost about $1 million over the last 12 to 18 months because of bad decisions.
Yeah, and counting. No, not in counting. We've stopped counting. Meaning we're stopping them.
Just ignore it and you won't see the damage. What has that looked like for you exactly, and how did that happen? And is it $1 million in revenue, or is it like $1 million in product?
A bit of more like $1 million in product, wrong decisions with wrong suppliers, wasted money on, I don't know, like different, like the wrong agencies. So like one recent one that really stands out was, I think, like 330,000 Australian dollars. And you know our discovery set, the one that you bought on our website?
Yeah. We
thought, well, we have like a good purchase rate after someone has that. So let's just give out 1 million of them.
What?
Yeah. And we did it, and we didn't get that far. But
1 million units?
We thought that we would. We didn't.
Okay.
But we started to in America, because if we're growing really rapidly here in Australia, but not in America or elsewhere. So we thought, let's just give them out for free. People can pay for shipping. And I think we gave out like 7,000 or 8,000 of them for free. And no one was buying
afterward.
And we're like, it was like crickets. Yeah. And like that, I think it was like $350,000. And that, like, we blew that in that was like 3 weeks.
Wow.
And like that was a big learning decision. So now we don't do that. We don't give them away for free anymore.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. That was like only like 2 months ago. And like, oh my God, our P&L looked really bad that month.
How did you orchestrate like giving away like those? So was it the whole discovery set that people could get for free, and all they had to pay for was shipping?
Just shipping. So $7 US shipping. And we just had like a cool Facebook, like we did it all through Facebook ads.
Yeah.
It was just like a nice, beautiful picture. It said, I forget what the wording was, but like, hey, USA, we're here.
Right.
Take home our discovery set for free. Just pay for shipping. And like, we're doing like 1,000 a day.
And what budget was on that ad that you were doing? Like, was it a daily budget, or did you?
Yeah. Or like the cost of acquisition was like, I think it was like $1.50 or something like that. Like people were clicking and purchasing.
And what spend were you putting behind that ad on Facebook?
Not a lot. Like we didn't have to put a lot. It was more just like the cost of the product.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Big fuck up.
We did something similar, but I wouldn't say that it was a loss, but it ended up being more than I thought. I don't know if it was this year or last year, honestly. The years are blurring together. But for Fate, we thought, what's a way that we can get more people into our stores? And so one of our best-selling products is our like buttery tea. I should have brought some. I need to start bringing like freebies for the guests, because I'm finding you've brought in some perfumes today. I need to bring in some clothes. So we had heaps of our buttery teas, and we do it in a bunch of different colours, like a little basic buttery top. And we thought, let's do the name game, which is what Boost Juice has done. So every day we announce 2 names, and then if people had that name, they could go into one of our 4 stores and collect a free tea. And so we started it on a Monday, and you think, like, Monday's not that busy in shops or shopping centres. So then I think we did like Sam and some other name. And we did 2, because we were like, how many Sams are going to be free on a Monday to go into our stores and not be at work or whatever? And then I think on the first day we gave away like 400 or something across all of our stores.
Wow.
And they had the stock, and we like stocked the stores up to ensure. But then, 400. I can't remember how many we ended up giving away in the whole week, but maybe it was like close to 1,000 1,000 T-shirts that we gave away. And it just...
Wow.
Like, it was obviously really worth it and everyone was so excited. Like, people were running into our stores, but we underestimated just how many people would kind of come in. So I kind of learnt a lesson from that as well. And maybe next time you can get the buttery tea, but you also have to spend $50 in store or something like that. Like, come in, spend $50 in store and get a free buttery tea. But we live and we learn, don't we?
Oh, I've learned a lot. And like kind of what we haven't done it yet, but I talked about it last week with my team. Like still like the discovery set, I want that to get into people's hands. But instead of giving it away just for free, with we might start doing like if you buy a 50 ml or 100 ml, you can get the free discovery set with it to try the rest of it. So you're still...
Because the discovery set, it's just all the minis, right?
Correct.
In like this cute little round thing.
Yeah. So like you're bound to like, well, we thought people are bound to at least buy one full-size bottle after that. But I think we're just targeting the wrong people in America who just wanted a free product.
Wow.
Yeah.
An expensive mistake. But it's not like, you got to look at it as it's brand awareness. Like people became aware of your brand. Tell me what other things have happened?
What else have we done lately? Things that stand out is trusting the wrong like digital like ad agencies. I feel like if anyone hasn't had that problem, you probably haven't figured it out yet and you are actually going through that problem.
I think everyone at some stage is going to run into that. I've done the exact same.
Like now we're not, but in case they're listening right now and they think I'm talking about them. But last year, the start of last year, like we were in a really bad financial spot because our ad agencies telling us our results are amazing, because back then we didn't understand, you know, how to work the Meta platform, and like hundreds of thousands of dollars is like down the drain, and like they're telling us all these like fucking stupid numbers, and I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. I
understand why this is their method, and it's not to say that all ad agencies are like that, but a lot of them are set up like that. I think a lot of them, not all, I'm saying that now, not all, but I think a lot of these ad agencies are set up to kind of take advantage of people that don't understand how to run Facebook and Meta ads, and they're almost just set up to be shady in that way, and they confuse you and make you think it's doing well when you're not at all.
No, and I always say to people, and like people probably hate working with me now, but I'm like, unless my bank account numbers are growing, I don't give a fuck about any other number.
Exactly.
But
right.
like I don't like, and I used to say it for so long, and people would be like, no, and I'm like, but it's the only number that really matters, truly. But like that was a big thing last year that we learned, and because of that, Adam, my husband, he went and did e-commerce equation and learned how to do Facebook ads, and like the full and Google as well. And within 6 weeks, he turned our business around. And then it was at that point in a financial year sale, and we did our whole 12-month revenue almost in a weekend.
Wow.
Yes, and that was only mid last year, because I think people have always, like, you know, for years people have been saying to me like, oh, like you're such a big business and you're so amazing and you're perfect. I'm like, literally probably was maybe nearly bankrupt last year because of trusting the wrong people and making all these bad mistakes. Like maybe not that, maybe being a little bit dramatic.
It feels like
but
it, though.
It does feel that way. Then this year's been a really good year, but also like really hard, which is like, I feel like I used to hear this on podcasts. I'm like, what does that even mean?
I know.
But it's like you're growing, but like, it's like a lot to get to that next chapter or that next level. And yeah, it's been a tough year.
Yeah, I personally think, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think the bigger your business gets, the bigger the problems get. And in business, you have to be willing to accept the fact that nothing is ever going to be running 100% smoothly.
Yeah.
You might have 1 week where nothing goes wrong, but I think every day there is at least one problem, and the bigger that your company gets, the more problems there are going to be, and the bigger those problems get. And it's just a part of it. And I think we can't be successful and get to that next level or that next chapter without being open to shit going wrong, because if it was just that easy, then everyone would be doing it. Like you've got to take the good with the bad, and I feel like
definitely
the better things get, the worse things get at the same time. But I think also it's great learning for us, because you also wrote in one of your answers that you think that you've made every mistake under the sun.
I hope so.
I feel the same, and every time you come out from the other end, when you've finally gotten through whatever shit thing it is, you're like, okay, surely that's it now. Surely nothing else can go wrong. But I don't know.
I feel
something
like
else waiting around the corner.
I guess like I think of it now and I'm like, oh, like, yeah, that was really hard, but wouldn't change it, if that makes sense. Like we do, I feel like, you know, myself and Adam, we whenever we're going through these hard, stages or problems, like we're always like, okay, this is teaching us something. It sounds corny, I know, but it's like, this is teaching us something. We just have to get through it, and we know that we're going to be better for it on the other end. And I feel like we never fight about work, and like people are always like, how do you guys, and like same with you and AJ, like I just like, I can't imagine it not. Like last week we had a really shit week. I think I left the office twice crying. And I never cry, but I was just like over it. And I was sort of like sitting there next to Adam having dinner. I'm like, we've had a really tough year, and we haven't like ever thought about it. I'm like, I'm so proud of us. But I think like I don't want to come on here and be like, oh, business sucks and it's so hard. But like I love it. I love it so much. I think it's just if you're going through those hard things, like what are you learning from it? And like what are you doing to make sure that doesn't happen again? We've definitely repeated mistakes before, but by like after we've done it twice, it's like we've never done it again.
What were those things? What have you repeated twice?
Yeah, like the wrong hires. Definitely like hiring wrong time and time again, even though we think that we've learned how to not do it, and trusting like suppliers and outsource people. So now we just like don't trust anyone.
Yeah. My advice on that would be do as much as you can in your business in-house.
Yeah.
Even learning those Facebook ads and all those things, which I know can be super overwhelming. And when you first log in to the ads manager, you're like, what is all of this? But when you actually understand it, it's very easy.
Yeah.
And then you can look and see those agencies and everything that they were doing wrong. That would be my number one piece of advice, is just learn and do as much as you can internally before you look externally, because that's when it's going to start costing you so much money. So on your business, you obviously started Who is Elijah online only. Like, was that where you started?
Yeah, but it was like iPhone photo, put it like press go live on the Shopify website and like crickets. Like there was nothing there day one. I probably was like day 30. There was maybe the first sale.
Yeah.
But straight away I thought I am a fragrance. Like I need to be on the shelves in, department stores or boutiques. So it was almost like day one I hit the pavement and was walking around to boutiques around Cronulla, around Sydney, and sending it to boutiques out of state. And we had like such a good success rate from day one of like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 out of 10 stores we sent to, they said yes, and then started buying our product and putting it on the shelves. And the perfumes were just in like a brown box that I hand stamped with a sticker, no barcode, no ingredients, like nothing. I don't know how I didn't get into trouble. But we were very retail, wholesale dominant for like the first like 3 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so now you're obviously in David Jones,
Sephora, and then we've just sort of like not pulled our stock, but we ceased partnerships with all of our boutique retailers.
Why was that? Was that
overnight.
Too tricky to
It
manage?
was just like we've had like wholesale agencies from the beginning, and then we sort of kept working with them probably like from like 2 years ago. But they just were getting paid commission, so they were just putting our perfumes in any store that would take it. So then I started to like see all these stores and people sending me photos of my perfumes in these like, very, very quaint like stores. I don't know how to say it.
Like not on brand for your brand.
Just not on brand.
Yeah.
And like, which is like nothing against that, but it was just like, we're going after the big beauty retailers of the world, but then if they happen to see us in like a tiny little boutique with like being merchandised incorrectly or not on brand, I was like, we just need a cleanse. So we did like a cleanse at the end of July. But now that was, again, probably not the best decision, because that was like a 70% of our wholesale revenue that I just thought, no, we'll be fine. Like, let's just cut it off. I don't regret it. It was a good decision, but, we probably should have planned it a little bit better. And yeah, so we've done a little bit of a cleanse, and now we're going to start bringing back some like small selection of boutiques around Australia, and then of course overseas.
In your questionnaire that we sent you, you said that you have been obviously wanting to launch into the US. You tried doing the Facebook ads, get a free discovery set, and that was obviously not a great success. I mean, it was a success for the people that got the free perfumes.
We can call it a fail.
It's not a fail, it's a lesson.
It's a lesson.
It's a lesson. But you also mentioned to us that you have been knocked back by some US retailers. How has that, because I don't know anything when it comes to launching into an overseas market. I have no idea how that works. I've never run ads overseas at all. But like, what does it look like if you do want to just say launch into Macy's in America or whatever it may be? Like, how does that look? What do you do?
America's tough. I haven't figured out America yet. So like what gave me confidence was probably like 3 years ago. I got an email from Sephora US and I was like, what? Like Sephora US? Is this my moment? And they found his, her, Hayes and Muse in a little boutique in Montauk.
Okay.
Like in the Hamptons. They loved it. And then I think they figured out, like they quickly realized on our Zoom call how small we were because we were hand filling at that stage.
So you were pouring everything yourself?
Yeah. I mean, at that point, 3 years, it was 2 years in we had employees.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, we were hand pouring. We like still kind of hand pour now, but we've actually just got a machine. I think it's getting delivered this week that we custom built in Italy.
How expensive was that machine?
Probably like $300,000.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I look at machinery and I just think, wow, that is so expensive.
I know.
For like a simple thing that's just going to fill some bottles, but it costs so much.
We need it for here because like there's like 1 or 2 companies here in Australia that do, well, they say that they have that machine, but their lead times are 3 months. And I'm like, I know how quickly these bottles can get filled. So it was much cheaper and better for us to do that for here in Australia. But it took us like 9 months to get this machine built. But we're about to start manufacturing over in the UK just because it's too hard to send everything from here to the UK because we're a dangerous good. And I found there's so many, it's hundreds of companies over there, like contract manufacturers to do the filling for us.
Yeah.
And their lead time's like 2 weeks, like so easy. They can do everything. So I'm like, oh, if only like we could have done that here, it would have been so easy.
I feel like Australia is really behind. Like obviously we're smaller as well. So we obviously don't have the huge facilities that other countries do. But I just feel like it's such a missed opportunity.
I know.
Maybe you need to start a company.
People are asking me, like, do you want to do, like, white label manufacturing for people? Like, I've got all the, our perfume supplies. Like, we've got lots of clients asking for this. I'm like, maybe. I mean, that'll pay off the machine pretty quickly. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how good it works.
So back onto the US.
Yes.
How has that looked? Like, who have you reached out to and who has knocked you back?
Well, Sephora, we still talk to. So basically, I think with them, we just weren't ready for that. They need more brand exposure, not more brand awareness over there, which we're trying to do.
And is that a thing that plays into getting into retailers in general? Like if you have followers and if you have engagement and everything, does that get
they
you
look
ahead?
at everything, especially in America, like what celebrities wearing you. And, we do know like lots of celebrities wear our perfume, but you can't see it in a photo. So unless they're like,
I can tell Khloe Kardashian has my perfume on in that photo. I can just tell.
Like Chris Appleton, like the Kardashians hairdresser, like he like is obsessed with Rebel Rose. Like my fragrance, Rebel Rose. And he talks about it all the time on podcasts. Like he's posting about it all the time. Like he like loves it. So I know that they've all smelt my perfume, and he wouldn't wear it if like they were like, oh no, it doesn't smell good. But that plays a big part. We've got a PR agency over there, but again, it's just like, I don't know, like the celebrities aren't taking a photo like with their bottle all the time, and we don't have millions of dollars to pay celebrities like for endorsements. So I think I'm actually going to the UK on Wednesday for 3 weeks, and we're doing like a proper launch into the UK, which we've never done before. Like with America, you just need like deep pockets for there. So we're doing like a proper launch event. Like I'm doing press events where I'm going to France to do this big distributor meeting that all want to work with me. So like a lot of the retailers over in the UK and Europe will only work with brands through a distributor, So like not direct with the brand.
Gotcha.
I feel like next year's going to be like amazing for us because I've got like 9 distributors wanting to talk to me.
I'm manifesting that for you.
Thank you.
What percentage of your business now is made up from your like wholesale side versus on your actual website?
Probably like 70 to 75% D2C and then the rest wholesale.
Okay, that's interesting.
So it's gone from, it used to be like 90% wholesale.
Yeah, I would have thought it would be the other way. Yeah. And like it would be you being in all these stores that would be your main kind of stream of revenue.
No,
but it's the other way around.
Once we took over the Facebook ads, like we just like learn it so quickly. And we chew up our wholesale now, which is amazing.
I think that's good. I think what you've done is you've tapped into a market that I think hasn't changed a lot in a really long time. When you think of perfumes, you think going into David Jones and having all the Chanels and Dior's and like they're all quite expensive. And then on the other hand, you just think Chemist Warehouse.
Yeah.
And then it's like your Brittney Spears and all that. Whereas I think what you've done is stepped into the middle.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like I think that's what I would see it as, where you're obviously not like your $30 Brittney Spears Curious bottle, but you're also not your $300,
Le Labo or something.
Yeah, you're fancy. Like I feel like you've created something that's accessible but does have that premium feel still. And I think it's really modern as well, just like in terms of the packaging and the fragrances and the names. Like I think it's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, we like to call ourselves we're accessible luxury, which is, I don't know how I came up with that day one because I was 23 and had no idea what I was doing. But that was like, you know, I loved all the expensive fragrances. But at 23, you don't want to spend like $300 on a bottle. And like those fragrances now are like $400 or $500 a bottle.
Exactly.
But, and like you look at like my ingredients is on my packaging versus what they've got on their packaging, it's all the same.
Yeah,
like they don't need to be that expensive.
How do you even go about making a perfume? Like this is me just, I guess, from a consumer's perspective. Like how do you decide what's going to be in it and like getting the smell right? And is it easy to get the smell disgusting? Because I could imagine if you just put a few ingredients in that don't mix well together, are you going to get that like disgusting smell?
Well, I am very honest that I am not personally mixing the fragrances. So we have a perfumer, Brad. He always hates it when I bring him up. But Brad is amazing. And he works with a second perfumer, Ivan, who's actually from France. So they just get it. Like they've got like perfumer noses. So,
wow. So you could just kind of go to them and be like, I want something cherry-ish with this and that. And they'll like know exactly what needs to come into it to make that smell.
Yeah, and like you go there, they're like an hour away from here, so they're not far. And you go there and they've got like a scent library and they've got like, you know, not all day, every day, but a lot of the times they're just like playing around with different like iterations of, you know, all the different ingredients that they think will go well together. And, you know, it's fun for them. Like, but it is like, you know, they've got a science degree. So it is like very like, I don't want to say the word chemicals. I feel like that sounds like ill, but like it is like it's chemicals and it's ingredients and it's mixing and there's like a lot of scientificness to it. Yeah. So it's definitely not me mixing in a lab coat, although I would love to pretend.
Yeah, it would be fun.
It would be fun.
We are just about to launch a lip oil for Fate, and that fascinates me as well. Just like the people that are, you know, formulating that for us. And I like went to the factory that it's all happening at. I'm like, how do you know how to do this? Yeah. You know, like when we were creating our lip oil, we were just like describing the way we want it to be. Like we want it to be an oil, but we don't want it to be runny and it runs off your lips. And the fact that they know what needs to go into that to make it like that.
So good.
Like how? Same with fragrance. I'm like, how do these people know this? It's very fascinating. Talking about your brand in general, I'm always interested to hear how people's businesses started out. Like what was your mindset at the time of starting Who is Elijah? What was the reason behind it? And did much thought go into it at all?
Well, I would say that there's a gap in the market, but there's definitely not a gap in the market for fragrance, other than I feel like we have disrupted it a little bit. But no, the idea came from, I was at Coachella 7 years ago. I was with my group of my best friends and my then boyfriend, now husband. One of my friends brought along a friend from Queensland, Tiffany, and she just like smelled amazing. Long story short, she was wearing a little oil fragrance from India and it just smelled so good. And I took a photo of it, and when I got back home to Sydney, I tracked it down online, and like a wholesaler in, I think it was like WA, had like 40 bottles of it. And so I bought all of them because he would only sell them to me in that like quantity.
What?
Yeah, but it wasn't expensive.
Okay.
And I just started giving it to people, like wearing it around, and like no joke, over like a 6 to 8 week period, I had like 100 people come up to me being like, excuse me, but like what fragrance are you wearing? And I'm like, oh, like it doesn't really even have a name. It's got like a camel on the label. Like it's like just like an oil, you know, fragrance. And after like that, I never had thought it like to make a business and like I feel like 7 years ago.
What were you doing for work back then?
I was an executive assistant for a CEO and a CFO and 2 other executives. So I was like very much so on the I want to be a COO one day, and like very like business like focused, I guess. And I think of me now and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know how to keep my calendar in order. How was I an executive assistant? But yeah, so that sort of was what sparked the, I guess, like light bulb idea. And then it took me a while, and then I finally started like getting serious about it, and I started researching like, okay, well, how do I make a perfume? And I found a perfumer here in Sydney, and I started working with him and like him showing me like his scent library, and then we came up with the fragrance His Her. He sort of steered me away from doing that original fragrance from India, because it was like very like in your face, very like unique. And he said like, you know, your first sort of step in the door of the fragrance world, maybe want to be a little bit more mainstream, which I think really worked in our favour because Her was our bestseller for like 3 years.
Yeah, wow. How do you find as well, I guess, being in perfume and getting that sale over the line when people can't smell it?
I didn't think that we would ever get to where we are today with having such a strong D2C.
Yep.
I think like brand awareness has really helped that. Definitely like word of mouth. Like we get a lot of people buying from us for the first time because they've smelled it on a friend or they've smelled it on a stranger in the street and asked them what perfume they're wearing. They might be second purchases, like they've found us in a retail store and then they know and trust the brand, so they'll go and buy it online.
Yep.
And then also our discovery set when purchased, that does really work.
And no one is getting that for free ever again. You heard it here first.
It's just
and
too
don't they
much.
already get like a discount because they're like buying the whole discovery set, right?
Well, we just like wanted to remove that like, I guess, doubt. And I'm just so confident in my fragrances. But, you know, I think, you know, people say like if you try to sell to everyone, you're selling to no one. So I think maybe I kind of got a little bit distracted.
Who is Elijah customer?
See, I just feel like even when you ask me that, I'm like, I do think it can be anyone.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you look at our data, it is, I think it's like 75% female. We also don't have a lot of our the retail data either. So I think that's a bit, it's not really accurate.
Yeah.
But it is more female. But a lot of those females are purchasing for the men or the, you know, the masculine people in their lives. And because, you know, our fragrances are very masculine.
Yeah, I find all of them. Like
Yeah.
I've obviously got the discovery set and some of the bigger bottles too. And I find like anyone could really wear the fragrances. Like none of them are like overly feminine.
No.
Or like overly masculine, which I think is really good.
They're very wearable.
They are.
Go
You
buy
heard
them.
You heard it here first and you have to pay full price. Let's go back to, you mentioned earlier that you work with your husband, Adam. So you guys running it together kind of thing? What is his role in the company?
He's CEO. I handed that over very happily.
Wow.
Yeah, he's CEO.
What does his day look like?
I don't know. He's always really busy though.
Does he have a lot of involvement with staff?
Yeah, so he is a natural born leader. I do not like being a leader. I don't like people management. It's just not my forte. I guess you could say he does like all the he's built the structure of the business. He's the one. He runs the digital performance side of the business. He manages all the staff, and then my role is Chief Creative Officer, so I'm leading sort of the creative vision of Who is Elijah, and I do all the product creation and development, so that's fun, and I'm the face of the brand. So I do this.
Wow. And how did that come to be? So you were together when you launched this, and then was he in it from the beginning, or what was he doing prior?
No, so he owned his own business, like an interior design and installation company. So he had that for, I think it was 6 years. And then, I mean, everyone that works in the construction industry knows how it sucks. Like no one pays. Like I think he's still chasing money, and he's he sold the business 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think, and then Who is Elijah started to sort of build traction, and then I don't know, maybe Who is Elijah started making more money than his business, and then it was just like a natural progression, and then he had actually decided to sell the business, and that did take a while, so he sold the business, and then he had built an app. The people weren't ready for it yet, but it was kind of like ahead of its time. Thank you. It's probably Monday, ahead of its time, and that sort of failed. But in the meantime, he started helping out with Who is Elijah, and I feel like he has a lot. I thank him a lot to where we are today, because I don't know if we would have gotten here with just me, because he's like that business. You need the both. You need the crazy creative and the person that's making it all come together and actually profitable.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
It's a bit like AJ and I, but I think I'm both of them. I wish AJ would take over the team management. Fuck.
Yeah.
AJ, we're changing the format. AJ is becoming the CEO. Then I'll just concentrate on the fun and creative.
Yeah.
And,
are you the CEO?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Everything. So you're a bit of...
So I'm product sampling, stock ordering.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And then heavily involved with our teams.
Yeah.
And then obviously face of the brand and content.
Wow,
everything.
You're busy.
Yeah, so I need to palm some more off to him.
Yeah.
He took payroll off me, which was really good.
Yeah.
Because that takes so fucking long every single week.
Yeah.
And he started more in our warehouse. I mean, he was with me when I started in the garage under the house. So he's been there through every little warehouse that we've, and he got really into that, like the setting up of the warehouse, because obviously the hard thing with clothes is it takes up a lot of space compared to perfume.
Yeah.
And I've always been kind of jealous of people that are just in like beauty or jewelry because it's so tiny.
Compact.
So then you don't need a 1,200 square metre warehouse.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, AJ really got into the whole organising the warehouse, the layout, you know, and he's an electrician and also may as well be every other trade because he can build and
So good.
he built our front fence on the weekend. I'm like, sorry, how do you know how to do this? Like you're not a carpenter. Like how do you know how to dig down into the ground? Anyway, so then, yeah, it was the same like you. He just naturally made his way in because he'd been helping for so long and gave up being an electrician.
Naturally made his way in. I like that.
Yeah, he just naturally was there anyway, like as a volunteer for the first few years, unpaid. And then, yeah, one day we were just like, come work with
Makes
us.
sense.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
And now I'm very much the same as you where I don't think Fate would be where it is if it wasn't for AJ, like doing it with me. And even
It's
though
also good support. Like,
yeah. I think that's why it is good when people have business partners because you're in it together kind of thing. But people always say to me, like, I don't know how you work together. And I'm sure you get the same thing.
So much easier.
But I think it's a blessing if you can work together because that's just like a recipe for success, especially if you're not arguing about it or anything like that. So, yeah, we love having our partners in the business. And I'm like, you can't ever leave me because what will happen
We're
to
so
Faye?
intertwined. And I said that to Adam the other day. I was like, I mean, we're not heading for divorce, but should we have gotten something written up?
I know, literally. Oh.
No.
Well, even if we break up, I'm like, you got to stay in the business. Sorry, we're just going to have to be, you know, when people split up and they've got kids and they just have to get along.
Yeah.
That's going to have to be AJ and I. Not
So
that we're
funny.
ever going to break up.
Never.
But if we do, he's still got to
Stay
stay
in.
in Fate. Sorry, because I couldn't do this shit on my own now. It's too big now. Like, I can't do it on my own. So moving forward, I guess, what are the big goals for Who is Elijah? Do you see yourself doing this forever? Do you want to exit out of it at any point?
I feel like Adam has always said, like, you know, you build a business to sell it.
That's what everyone keeps telling me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I mean, it keeps the business healthy, whether it is something that you do or not. At least, you know, you're building a very healthy business. So I get that. I can't imagine ever not having Who is Elijah. But, you know, I look at all these like other beauty brands out there and, you know, the acquisitions that they're getting. And it's like I'm, you know, when their numbers go public and it's like, well, we're like on track or maybe even surpassing that now. So, you know, someone probably will knock on our door in the next 5 to 7 years is what Adam keeps telling me. So I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I would sell it all or maybe just like a minority stake or something like that. But I'm actually going to London on Wednesday for 3 weeks without the kids and Adam to go and, you know, meet all the distributors and do the big launch. And then we're actually going to pack up our lives and go move to London in December.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
And so Who is Elijah still going to be based here?
Yeah. So we'll keep that here. Nothing changes there. We do have, you know, an amazing team to run it while we're not here that we love and trust. And we just I need to like do what I'm doing here over there, I think. Because I think that's why we haven't been successful in America is that I've just been like basing, you know, hope, I think, of like sending emails and samples out across, you know, to the other side of the world. And it's like, if I had been there this whole time or spent a year there, I feel like we would have like.
So you're going to move there for the business?
For the business, yep.
And are you going to stay there forever?
I don't know how well we'll deal with the cold. I think we'll like it for a year. But George, our 5-year-old boy, our son, he needs to start school. So we can't just jet around. That's why I'm going by myself for so long because the kids kind of like, I don't know, need a base.
Yeah.
So I want them to come and Adam's keen to move over there and I'm really excited to like network and like meet new people and I feel like businesses are like huge over there. So
I know. I feel like this is like Australia is like a small fish, you know, in the big pond of the world and it is really hard. And I feel like we do miss out on certain opportunities. In saying that, we're like obviously very privileged to bloody live here.
Yeah.
But compared to the UK and the US when it comes to business, there is so much more happening over there.
Yeah.
And there's events and there's all the influencers and all that. Do you work with many influencers?
Yeah. It's just like hard. Like sometimes like with influencers with perfume, I think again it's like not a beautiful t-shirt or like, you know.
And I find that would be tricky because you're paying these influencers to say, I love this perfume, but that's like as far as they can take it kind of thing. They can't say, look at it, like, you know, because you can see it, but you can't smell it. Maybe with all this AI that's coming out these days, one day people are going to be shopping online on your website and they can click the space bar and a little psst comes
Oh my
out
God,
the screen.
imagine.
Like, surely, with the way technology is going,
That would be cool.
I don't see why not.
No, yeah, influencers love them. They just don't work for our brand.
I think influencers are starting to not work
anywhere,
for
really.
lots
Yeah.
of brands unless
Yeah.
you're doing it in a really clever way. And I can speak from experience of being an influencer for so many years back in my days. It was so much more lucrative, I guess,
Yeah.
like promoting products online. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word. Whereas now I almost think audiences are just sick of it. They're sick of seeing the same shit being promoted left, right and centre, and it's not genuine anymore.
No.
Whereas I feel like 5 years ago you could work with a brand and promote them and say, I love this so much. And everyone would be like, oh, she loves it. I'm going to get
I
it.
must love it too.
Yeah.
I feel like the only time I ever get sold by an influencer as a consumer is on an outfit because you can see it instantly.
Yeah.
I really don't think I've ever bought a beauty product or a perfume from hearing someone talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm a bit spontaneous, so I love perfumes. Like perfume is my thing that
Okay.
I buy. Yeah, people love shoes
Yeah.
or handbags or clothes or swimmers or whatever. My thing is perfume.
I love that.
So I'm the kind of person where I am influenced. If I see
Okay.
someone saying, I love this perfume so much, I will blind buy it.
Wow.
And it's usually pretty good because I feel like perfumes are pretty good in general these days.
I need like 1 million of you. Then I'm good.
We need more customers like me that will
Yes.
willingly buy a perfume without smelling it. But that's my thing, like perfume. AJ's always like, why the fuck are you buying another perfume? I'm like, that's my thing. Everyone can have their own thing. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on. I could honestly sit here and talk to you for hours, but we are running out of time a little bit, and I thought we have to wrap up with your tip of the week. If you have any tip, it can be life, beauty, business, anything.
I'm going to be boring because I feel like this one I have actually been doing a lot lately and it's been really good. Networking. I feel like I was so late to the networking game and I've been going to networking events lately and like just like the little like tidbits of information you're learning from people that you would never have ever met before unless you went to that, sometimes
You
maybe
never know.
boring networking
You
event.
never know who you're going to run
You never know who
into.
you're gonna meet. And I have just so many like good little nuggets of information and getting introduced to we just got introduced by this girl in America who does TikToks for this account, this brand in Australia, and they're like every video's gone viral. So now we're going to start working with this girl and to do our TikTok because I feel like I just like don't know TikTok. And I feel like I don't know.
It's hard.
It's hard. I mean,
It's
you're
a lot.
amazing at TikTok. But yeah, just network.
If people don't know how to network, how would they find how to network? Like I was at an event the other day for my friend's book launch and someone came up to me and said, how do I network? Like, how do I
Yeah.
know where
I feel
to
like
go?
It's such a common question.
How do I find who to network with? How do I reach out to people? How do I find events? What would be your advice?
Well, I actually recently just hosted an event through the BOA app. It is like a new networking app. I actually think it's amazing. This is like not a plug to them. It actually is amazing. They're having events like, I feel like it's almost weekly and sometimes they're in-person events or they're virtual events. And they've got like all of like almost all of the like beauty founders on there, female founders on there, and then you got like your like male founders on there, and then you got like your Mark Boris's on there. So they've like really like from like new founders to
The OGs. Yeah.
So I think that's really good. And then also just like reaching, like we live in like the world of technology, so it's like reaching out to people. I get DMs almost daily now, like asking for like help with something. Like I got a text message as I was walking into the studio here. Someone has just been approached by a good retailer and they're asking about pricing and shipping. What the hell do I say to them? So it's
Yes.
like, you could make a mistake and just guess it on your own or just reach out to someone that that you think knows how to do it and just ask. I feel like people can be quite generous with their time.
100%. And
Yeah.
another good one as well, I guess, would be search like Facebook groups in your area.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And especially if you're in somewhere like Sydney or Melbourne, I think
Yeah.
that's one thing where I have fallen short in my business journey is being based in Newcastle where it's tiny. It's a regional city, so I don't ever really come down often to these events in Sydney. But if I was in Sydney, I'd be loving like to get amongst all of these events and just see what's out there and meet new people. So if you're in a major city and you want to network, you'll be spoilt for choice with the stuff that's out there. And like DM people on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
follow them, interact with them. You never know
Yeah.
by sending one message what might come of it.
So much.
Look out, our DMs are going to be blowing up after this episode. Everyone's like, hey!
Remember when you said that?
Oh, this has been so great. Thank you so much, Raquel, for
Thank
coming
you.
on. Where can everyone find you?
On Instagram, I'm at Raquel Bouris, but I think there's a couple of extra A's in there because someone took my name. And then Who is Elijah is at Who is Elijah Perfume. Oh my God, actually, just quickly, Who is Elijah Instagram got suspended like last week for 6 days. It's finally back.
Why?
I don't know. It was an error. So if you don't have a good Meta account manager, go get one because it was like torturous. We lost like 30% revenue. Anyway, let's end on that.
And obviously everyone needs to go on Who is Elijah online.
Online.
And place an order. What fragrance would you recommend to everyone if they were to try one and one only? What's your best seller?
Nomad. So Nomad is like universally loved by like females, males, like it's masculine and feminine. Of course, our discovery set. But we have some really, I don't know, like all of them are amazing. And our descriptions on our website are pretty like detailed and spot on. We get a lot of good feedback on. So, but I think if you wanted to start, you'd start with Nomad or our OG, His Her. They're just like very wearable.
Love that. Thanks for chatting. See you in the UK.
Oh, woohoo. Bye.